The evil of the Daleks is one of the more creative and interesting premises of any Dalek serial, I think. It may even be the crown jewel of Dalek serials of the 1960s, and I certainly think it could easily be considered this were it all available. But even the concept of this serial, which isn't quite revealed in this first episode, it's this interesting tease and a twist as to what we're actually experiencing in this storyline, what the catalyst for the events of this synopsis are. So if I may spoil it, leave now if you're interested in watching this reconstruction for the first time. Otherwise, I suppose, feel free to stay. A Victorian-era scientist has been blackmailed by the Daleks to utilize a time travel device in order to go to contemporary UK in the later 90s, well, at that time contemporary, in the mid-late 1960s, where the Daleks know the Doctor will be at this particular airport after he's defeated the chameleons and the faceless ones, and Mr. Waterfield conspires with some people in contemporary London, this Cockney thug seemingly named Kennedy, to, rough up the Doctor and kidnap him. And we don't know that Mr. Waterfield is a time traveler. We know there's something off about him. He thinks that Kennedy's Cockney accent, he doesn't really understand it. And then there's also the presence of the Daleks, which is only revealed at the very end of this episode, as the poor Kennedy accidentally wanders into the room at the wrong time when a Dalek appears and demands to know, who are you? This is the kind of premise that you would think that modern Doctor Who would be utilising, Dalek, period piece, time travel, an excuse to have the contemporary world, but also an excuse to have a period piece and to show their Dalek props amongst them. It's kind of cute and it's good for some screenshots to put on the BBC's website. It's the kind of thing you can imagine them doing now, and yet this is a very early precedence of them doing it. It's a very ahead of its time concept for one of these Doctor Who serials, I would think. And despite being missing and only available via these fairly good, I must say, reconstructions via telesnaps, the actual synopsis and the engaging narrative with which the evil of the Daleks is supported by, it's so thoroughly entertaining, and you're so wanting to know what happens next that you find yourself watching the telesnaps amidst the audio and rather, for me at least, engaged with the proceedings. That's the strength of the scripts here, and what we can gauge of the execution from director Derek Martinus and the brilliant. This is one of our examples of a mostly Sol, Doctor and Jamie adventure, and it's absolutely spectacular as one of those. Absolutely. Episode 2 of The Evil of the Daleks is the only available recovered episode of this 7-part serial, and so in that particular upload I'll be discussing how that episode is, and just discussing the direction and the general production values of that in general, because it's the only opportunity I can really do so with, any of us can really do so with, unless one of these is in a private collector's house somewhere. Please give it up if you are this person somehow watching this video, gloating in your private home and all that, whatever. Anyway, I actually wish it is out there and someone is just hoarding it. Like, that would just be great at this point. I don't even care if they've been hiding it for so many decades and just being smug about it. Like, hey, that's fine as long as it's out there. But anyway, in episode 3, so we'll get onto the behind-the-scenes information. There'll probably be quite a bit of it, and so we'll be discussing it in episode 4, then the reception in 5, and then we'll be discussing how I feel about the Troughton era's handling of the Daleks, why I wish there was more of it, and we'll be discussing we'll be discussing my thoughts on the serial overall by episode 7, and I suppose as well the notion of this being the final send-off of the Daleks in Doctor Who, as they had plans, Terry Nation did, the creator of the Daleks, for how he could proceed and try to make money off of them in the future. It didn't quite pan out, but the Daleks would not reappear after this serial until, I believe it was 73, with it was definitely in this serial, I don't know if the year's correct, with Third Doctor's Day of the Daleks, one of my absolute favourites. Well, Day of the Daleks is interesting because that was kind of made into a masterpiece via the edits that they put together in the early 2010s, I think, where they transformed that final battle sequence where the Daleks attack the mansion into one of the greatest moments in the history of classic Doctor Who via a few clever edits, and so I believe some additional footage shot, even brilliantly executed. but in the original format, it's not so hot, and also the Daleks' voices were different initially in the Day of the Daleks airing, whereas the remaster but they put together in the early 2010s has the original. Well, it's actually the modern Dalek voice. Can't remember his name. The performer, although it sounds like, you know, one of the classic Daleks. You have obtained the space-time coordinates. That sort of thing. I will say ahead of time, the cliffhanger to episode 1 of Day of the Daleks is probably my favourite moment. It has to be just unquestionably the greatest cliffhanger in the history of Classic Who. You know, it's just a seas, ocean of Daleks screaming and shaking, and the camera's just cutting to and fading in and out of like different, you know, shots of Daleks shaking, going, exterminate them, exterminate them, exterminate them, exterminate them. It's just gloriously wonderful. People who love Doctor Who, that's the exact stuff that they want to see. That's what makes them warm and fuzzy and happy. Whereas people who think it's the silliest thing ever are like, they're watching the exact same clip thinking, okay, I can't deal with this crap. What is this, even this show, and why do people watch it? This is so silly. Like, I'm meant to be taking this seriously. Yes, that's the fun of it. Anyway, I'll see you in episode 2's upload. The Evil of the Daleks, one of the greats. Thanks again, my good and dear friends. Appreciate it immensely.